Does the limitless pill exist in real life? You've probably heard someone say, we humans can only use 10% of our brain, and you thought, wow, so what is it going to feel like if we could use 100%? Well, if you've seen the movie Limitless starring Bradley Cooper and directed by Neil Berger, then you know of the drug NZT48 that gives you the ability to use 100% of your brain and maximize its full potential. But does this kind of drug exist in the real world? Make sure you stay until the end of this video to find out if there's a pill that can make you limitless. As humans, we look for an edge that would help us work and think more efficiently. That edge could come in several forms. In the 2011 movie Limitless, we see Eddie Mora, a character played by Bradley Cooper, go from a lazy, unambitious and struggling writer suffering from persistent writer's block to beating the stock markets, learning new languages in an instant, and basically dominating life. What gave Eddie the ability to do these things and have an edge came in the form of a translucent pill called the NZT48. Swallowing just a tablet, which lasts for 24 hours, gives you the ability to do extraordinary things, and it also improves your cognitive ability, thereby helping you to narrow your focus and also boosting your confidence. Now, everything Eddie has ever read, seen or heard is instantly organised and made available to him in an instant by his brain. We see in the movie how Eddie cleaned and rearranged his unkempt apartment, got on his laptop and started writing. He wrote several hundred pages of his book and printed it out, and he did all of this in under 24 hours. As a matter of fact, his editor that had been disappointed in him as a result of his lackluster performance was extremely impressed with what he wrote after taking the pill. Although, when he woke up the next day, he was back to his rumpled self and the effect of the drug seemed to have worn out. He kept on taking this drug and there was a massive improvement in his lifestyle in a very short time period. In fact, there was a scene where his girlfriend had to remind him to eat because his brain was functioning at a very high level, higher than the average person. That shows how powerful the drug in this movie can be. Unsurprisingly, he got addicted to this drug as a result of the immense benefit it provides. However, later in the movie, we could see the side effects of the excessive intake of the NZT drug, such as body aches, loss of immediate memory, and loss of perception of time. There is also a TV show, Limitless, starring Jake Donovan. This TV show has a similar premise to the movie, except that Jake Donovan's character was taking NZT48 and using his profound abilities of memory and intelligence to solve crimes with the FBI. These events take place in a fictional world, and you may be wondering if something like this is possible in the real world. Certain companies in the supplements industry have looked to cash in on the success and public interest surrounding the movie and TV show by creating their own form of NZT pills that makes you dominate life. Of course, you may be wondering if this is possible. You may also be skeptical about the outrageous claims made by these companies, especially because they never back up these claims with concrete science. There are some other people that have found out that by taking prescription medication, usually prescribed for conditions such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, they experience benefits that are similar to the fictional effects of the NZT pill. But these brain-improving drugs can only be gotten by prescription and could have possibly unpleasant and potentially serious and negative side effects if they are not taken in the right dosage or are abused. So does a drug like this exist in real life? Almost certainly not. There is not enough clinical research to back the chemical composition of the pills. Although, like so many things in the American movie industry, there may be some potential truth behind it. It's just much more complicated. In the real world, there are a number of drugs that are being tested for various forms of neural enhancement. That is, drugs that can improve focus, memory, and speed of thinking. Since the pharmaceutical industry is effectively required to manufacture drugs for the sole purpose of treating illness, these drugs are being developed as treatments for mental impairments. In many cases, these drugs can be used and abused by people without any form of mental impairments to improve their own form of mental performance. However, as we humans advance technologically and biologically, a shift in the global economy is driving two key changes, which include a shift in health and wellness from a primary focus on illness and cures to prevention, longevity, and performance. Also, the case of a shift in focus from big innovation and growth to incremental innovation and a drive for efficiency. This will result in us humans developing and manufacturing more and more technology to make us smarter and more efficient with little to no side effects. Intelligence is a vastly complex conception. There are a number of aspects of intelligence that we can assist chemically, But the improvements are usually modest and are based on a number of factors such as the daily routine of the individual, the knowledge already acquired by the individual, and the chemical composition of the supplements. The idea of manufacturing a single pill that improves every aspect of our intelligence in a dramatic fashion is extremely unlikely, up to the point of it being totally implausible. Of course, it's very possible that the human brain has levels of potential we don't typically use. It's not as simple as chunks of brain matter just sitting idle, and like I said earlier, it's much more complex than that. Making someone smarter is a complex concept, and it's very unlikely that this can be achieved with just one pill. There are chemicals in the brain such as serotonin and acetylcholine, which are both found in high concentrations in the brains of young children. As we humans grow, these chemicals reduce naturally. This is one of the reasons why children are able to develop new skills rapidly, because their brain goes through a process called critical periods of development. As a result of the high chemicals and the fast growth of the brain, young children are able to learn new languages, absorb information and pick up several other skills much faster than adults. In adults, however, these skills become harder to learn as the brain reaches its peak development. There may be areas that activate these chemicals in adults, so make sure you stay to the end of this video to find that out. The psychological results of perception and learning contain mental phenomena that include memory, attention, and executive functions. Pills used in treating mental impairment enhance the executive functions in this case. The executive functions occupy the higher levels of thought, that is, reasoning, planning, directing your attention to information that is relevant, and thinking about what to do next, rather than acting on impulse or instinct. The executive function is activated when you tell yourself to do something like counting to 10. Instead of saying something you may end up regressing. The executive functions are what we use to make our actions moral, and what we think about that makes us human, though these are all abstract concepts. There is quite a large gap, a grey area in between these concepts and our knowledge of how the brain functions physiologically, and it's in this grey area that the cognitive enhancer development has to operate. The cells in the brain work together to produce our higher cognition and executive function, which makes us able to think about things that are not currently stimulating our senses. The fundamentals of abstraction. This has to do with the mental representations of our goals for the future, even if it's the future in just a few seconds or minutes. There is some research that points out that smart drugs may not be enhancing cognition directly, but simply improving the user's state of mind, which is making work much more pleasurable and enhancing focus. There are effective ways for you to achieve peak mental performance. Some of the most effective things that will help you get there are actually daily habits that you can start implementing straight away. A very good example is sleeping. Sleep is as important as it gets for learning and memory, as it gives the brain time to rest and optimize the neural connectivity. Also, regular aerobic exercise optimizes the sections of your brain responsible for memory, learning and thinking. One other thing many people ignore is eating nutritiously. Eating junk food or highly processed food is probably never going to elevate your physical or mental body to the next level. A healthy nutrition with necessary discipline and focus will give us the ability and opportunity to train and/or perform at our maximum potential. Having a daily routine would assist in making sure everything is in place for you to achieve this peak mental performance. What if I told you that there are pills specifically engineered to boost your concentration and also enhance your cognitive abilities and cognitive performance? What makes this even better is that the pills are formed from a real-life natural ingredient and are available without any prescription. While the pill capable of reenacting the effects of the NZT may not exist in real life, there are close alternatives with nootropics. Nootropics are herbal supplements that help to boost the brain function by enhancing cognitive functions like focus, memory, creativity, and more. There's really no drug in the world that can have the same mind-blowing effect as the NZT-48 from the movie Limitless. However, there are pills that help you to improve how your brain functions and reduce mental fogginess. These pills don't give people the idea that they didn't have, rather it makes it easier for people to access those ideas. Nootropics are used by entrepreneurs, athletes, students, creators, and several other people who need a little mental boost. It's formulated for mental performance, that sense of focus when your body and mind are completely in tune and distractions cease to exist. If you want to try the #1 nootropic Unlimitter, make sure you click the link in the description and enter the code YouTube10 to get 10% off your order. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you'd like this video. Also, make sure to subscribe and get more insightful videos like this. Thank you, and bye for now.